What's up, everyone? Welcome back to RJ Talks. It is money back season, folks. Justin Herbert, Trevon Diggs, and Saquon Barkley have officially signed their contracts for the brand new season. So we're going to be talking about that and elaborating on that a little bit more. So the running backs of the league up until of this current league have always been in talks of things not exactly being what they want it to be, right? As far as their finances goes, as far as their focus goes. So Saquon Barkley is starting to change that up a little bit, but I don't want to give too much away. So with that being said, I'm Jose.
And I'm Ricardo.
Welcome back to RJ Talks, everyone. So now, what we've got is number one, first and foremost, Saquon Barkley. Ricardo, what do you have to say about this? What do you have to say about the state of the running backs of this current league and comparing the Saquon Barkley situation to that?
Well, Jose, what I would have to say as far as what's going on with the league today, it's really quite tragic for people who are used to watching old school football, because it's getting to a point where the running back position is getting so devalued. Jose, it might be getting close to the point where it's the fullback position.
Right.
Where they'll get so devalued that they won't even have an opportunity to get on the field anymore, because it's being shown more and more with the Super Bowl winning teams, Jose, that you don't have to pay your running back as much as before in order to win. And I gotta say, as far as me being the historian, this all started back in the day in 1997. When Terrell Davis from the Denver Broncos, 6th-round pick, didn't pay them that much, was a Super Bowl MVP, and back-to-back 1,500-yard rushing season. One of those seasons was to 2,000 rushing yards. So point being, Jose, is that running backs are slowly declining as far as getting paid and importance on the football field. And really quickly, Jose, if you don't mind me doing this, I'm going to list some contracts, yearly contracts from running back.
Absolutely.
Keep in mind, everybody. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, this is with a higher salary cap going year after year after year. Okay? So, the top running back that's being paid so far yearly is none other than Christian McCaffrey.
Right. Yeah, well deserved.
Completely deserves the money that he's getting, Jose.
Yep.
Absolutely deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
But guess how much he's getting paid? Give me a number.
I want to say $100 million.
Okay. No.
No, not $100 million.
4-year contract.
Oh, it's a 4-year contract. Okay. Well, I'm just going based off of what Saquon's contract is, so I would say $90 million.
$64 million.
Wow.
In that 4-year contract. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And his average annual pay per season is $16 million.
Wow.
Okay.
Defensive players are getting paid more than that right now.
And Jose, remind me, I'm having some memory loss here. How much is Saquon's contract right now that he just signed?
Well, after all the incentives, it's going to be upwards of $104 million, and that's including incentives. Without incentives, it's 95, 97, if my memory serves me right.
Saquon, not Trevon. Saquon.
Oh, Saquon Barkley. Yeah. So that is what I was reading, is that his incentives are going to be what's bringing it up. $900,000 is what his incentives amount to.
$11 million.
Exactly.
For 1 year.
Yeah. Oh, for a single year. Yes, for a single year, it is $1 million.
$11 million, Jose.
Mm-hmm.
That, and the worst part about it is that the franchise tag that he didn't want to sign was $10 million.
That's right.
Pretty much going off of this, Jose, it's just, it's sad that I understand. I understand why he caved in, But to give people perspective, Daniel Jones got a contract to get paid much more money than Saquon did. And he made his bread and butter off of Saquon, running the football, checking it down to Saquon, screen passes. How many games did they win because of Saquon? Now, I understand it's a quarterback league, but come on. Saquon's your offense.
Daniel Jones is not the leader of that offense, plain and simple, Ricardo. It's just not – it's not him.
It's not him, and it's sad to see, Jose, because we know Saquon's injury history. Now, I'm knocking on some wood here on my table, but it's just I don't want to see anything happen. He deserves a long-term deal, but the reason – let's address the elephant in the room, Jose. This is because of two guys that this is happening for running back. Two guys ruined this situation for all running backs.
Oh, I know number one.
Remember the last two running backs that got multi-year deals and got really paid per year. You know one of them for sure.
Oh, it's Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes.
My big man Zeke.
Big man Zeke and Todd Gurley.
Yep.
Now, the year that Todd Gurley got his contract, it was safe to say he was the best running back, bar none.
No doubt.
That season.
I remember hearing his name. I remember hearing his name everywhere when he got signed.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, his knees got arthritic. Got arthritis in his knees. And he was never the same player after the fact.
Yep.
Even in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, you remember watching that as well. He wasn't the same player.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Zeke, it's just a matter of Cowboys didn't realize he wasn't as good as he actually was. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jose, which guy told you that Zeke isn't that good? Everyone was so excited. He's the next Emmitt Smith. He's amazing.
It was the first season that he was signed. And, oh, my gosh, man. Like, Ricardo could not stop talking about this guy and just how terrible he is, where everybody else was just referring to him as, like, the best running back in the league. He's like, he's putting up the numbers. It's the best rookie season that we've seen from a running back since, like, Emmitt Smith and all this other. It's like, oh, my God, come on, dude. Oh, man. That was hilarious. That was great. That was great. At the time, Ricardo and I were living together, too, and that was just, oh, my God, I couldn't stop hearing about it. But it was funny. It was hilarious. It really was.
Yeah. So my point being, it's not the other running back's fault that one of them was career ended. I mean, he's still playing, but he's not the same player that he was. His career is not over. No. One had horrible injuries, and the other one wasn't as good as anyone thought that he was.
Mm-hmm.
Jose, it's safe to say that Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and Saquon Barkley are legit. Safe to say, right?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. And Ricardo, and yeah, you can speak to this also. I mean, when you're a rookie player in any position, right? It's easy for you to be good. Nobody is really expecting you to be much of anything until you prove them wrong. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I right or wrong?
100% right.
Exactly. So once you establish yourself within your rookie season, it's going to be much more difficult to be better in the subsequent years that you play in the game, right? So I have to give it up to Zeke for playing well his rookie season, but we didn't see anything else after that. And it's the same thing for Saquon, right? His rookie year was phenomenal, right? And then after that, he just wasn't he wasn't that player that we had seen from his rookie year. Even his second season was still decent, but it wasn't as good as his rookie year. It wasn't until last year where we saw Saquon really starting to come out and starting to show himself as the player that he was when he first started. All right, so as the seasons go on, it's tougher and tougher to play at that top level, but you still have to. That's how you earn the franchise tag. That's how you earn the 5-year extensions, the 2-year extensions. That's how you do it. So I think at this point, Saquon still has a little bit more to prove before he continues on. Now, before he continues on the franchise tag. Now, it's his own fault. Now, it's probably on him that he didn't sign a franchise tag to begin with, right? But I think in the end, for me personally, this is completely opinion based. I think the New York Giants really have a good shot here because they're not stuck with Saquon if he doesn't perform the subsequent years. Because let's face it, Ricardo, last year was great, but all the years before that, with the exception of his rookie season, he did not play as well as we had expected him to. So I think at this point in time, the New York Giants are in a good position to pay Saquon Barkley if he earns it, because most of his money, as I mentioned from the very beginning, is coming from those incentives, right? He has to hit marks in order to earn that $900,000. But even then, Ricardo, right? How much of that money is guaranteed? And I know that you know the number.
I believe it was like 8 at the very most.
Yes, exactly. So still more of that money guaranteed, right, than what, hey, say, Christian McCaffrey would have made. All right, so at this point in time, Ricardo, it's like, what are we going to see from Saquon moving forward, and what does this do to the rest of the running backs in the league moving forward as well?
I 100% get your point as far as when it comes to the Giants being in a good position, because Saquon did have some injuries here and there, but to be fair to Saquon, the Giants had Jack at head coach and offensive scheme.
Right.
This was the first year that they have a good coach to use the best out of Saquon ever since his rookie year. Now, I'm going to bring up a topic here, Jose. Still with Saquon, it relates to it because it relates to running backs having a lot of touches, running and catching the football, which is what Saquon does, which is what Christian does, and to a more rushing extent, but still get some catches, what Derrick Henry does. So as far as for running back getting paid, here's my problem, Jose, and I know you'll agree with me on this, because this is what's leading to Saquon's struggle to get a multi-year contract. Teams will wear out a running back until the tires there's no more tread on the tires for them. And here's the magic number, Jose. The magic number, as far as like, oh, you're cooked. You're cooked as a running back. You're done. Like you're gonna get less and less production after this year. It happened to DeMarco Murray, former Cowboy. That big season that the Cowboys had, where they had a great season, they made it to the postseason. Didn't do anything with it, but the best season that Tony Romo had late in his career. The magic number, Jose, is over over 300 touches. Like over 350 touches.
And this is over a career span.
No, from a season.
Oh, just a single season. Okay.
Just one season. Because you got to remember, they run the ball and they also catch the ball.
Right.
So those are also touches. So that magic number of 350, like in the higher 300s, some players have even gone to 400, depending on like the current situation. After that, teams will be like, okay, you're on your last legs, and the running back's only 27, 27, 28, going on 29. It's an unfair game, and I think it's just ridiculous how teams use that excuse not to pay a player. They'll use that excuse, but when it's actually time to run the ball and when a team's identity is running the football and using the running back for passing plays, you lose that excuse with me, because this is what your team is. Now, if your team's a passing team or you're pass happy and he just happens to get that many touches, okay, maybe you got me there. But when your identity, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Tennessee Titans, the New York Giants, the Chiefs to some extent, when your identity is running the football and setting the tone early on, miss me with that excuse, man. I hate that excuse that teams give. Is like, well, you have so many touches, so we can't pay you that much. No, he's earned those touches because they're the heart and soul of your team. Ridiculous.
It's so easy to get caught up in that small picture, Ricardo, and we've seen this time and time again where different analysts, different newscasters, sportscasters tend to get caught up in the numbers so much to the point where that defines the player and that defines the team. All right. Now, I'm guilty of that. There have been many times where I've looked at the numbers and I had never watched film, and that's what I based the player's performance off of, was just that. All right. And I thought, oh wow, this is exactly who he is. I mean, he must be these terrible numbers, but no. So it's easy to get caught up in all those numbers, Ricardo, but at the end of the day, it's what the scheme is and what the scheme is doing for that player. So I definitely see your point there, Ricardo, in that Saquon's injuries combined with just a lackluster offensive scheme and offensive play calling really contributed to his less than stellar performance, right, from between last year and his first year as an NFL running back, right? At the same time, though, Ricardo, there have been many times where he could have made different little decisions, right? And where he could have made different small decisions that were completely up to him in the middle of a game, to where he just to where he could have maximized his performance within that offensive scheme, but he just didn't do that. All right, there were many instances where he could have done those things, but again, Ricardo, being a new player in the NFL and being just newly injured, I see that side as well. I really do. I see that side to where he's afraid to get injured again and to potentially end his career.
Yeah, and here's where I'll go, Jose. If next season we see Saquon, like, you know when running backs try too much, like they go left and right as opposed to forward
right.
much, like go for the hole or like do what the play design is, and they try to be all fancy. If we see that, understood completely. Saquon's trying too much. He had a down year compared to last year.
Right.
But if I'm seeing Jose, and I pay attention to this, who's Mr. Defense here? Me.
Oh, yeah.
And I watch this. Yeah.
Mm.
If I see 8 guys in the box, and to the people who don't know what the box is, pretty much the box is when you see the offensive linemen line up, so 1 lineman, 2 linemen, 3 linemen, 4 linemen, 5, the defense on the other side, it's a box compared to there. So typically in an offense, you want to have ideally 7 within the box to run the football.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to pass the ball, you want 8. You want 8 because that leaves only 3 people to cover the pass deep if you're a pass-happy team. My point with that, Jose, is that if I see an 8-man box every single play and Daniel Jones is doing jack, that's my word of the day, jack, because I don't want to cuss, that is doing jack with that formations, it's not Saquon's fault.
It's not. No.
So we'll see next year as far as how the Giants perform on the outside, because if they develop more passing wise and then Saquon struggles, that's a different argument. But if it's the same team, Saquon or bust, and teams are figuring out, Jose, you know what these coaches are doing, what they've done all summer long, they're preparing, they're seeing this is what they do great, this is what they suck at, let's try to force them to do what they suck at. So we'll see what happens next year.
Ricardo, to be completely honest with you, and just this is my final thoughts on not just Saquon, but the New York Giants offense as a whole. We've seen players on an offense play stellar football, right? The Cleveland Browns offense has been pretty solid, right, for the past couple of years. The Minnesota Vikings offense has been solid, but what has usually been their number one problem? The quarterback position. It's been the quarterback position, and I think the New York Giants up until this point see that Daniel Jones is not the most stellar quarterback, and he's not the best quarterback for that team, unless they're willing to coach him and continue to coach him well, because he's still young, right? He's still young, and he still has some years. If they're able to coach him, that would be great, and we see something different from Daniel Jones next year, to where he's playing good, competent football, I'd have a little more faith. But right now, Ricardo, I'm a little iffy on the New York Giants and that offense specifically. That offense is going to look pretty solid for the most part, and I have all the faith in the world in the head coach. But it all comes down to Daniel Jones. Now that they've signed Saquon Barkley, and now that he is a guaranteed player in this position in this organization, it's all on Daniel Jones to perform. If he doesn't, he's letting everyone else down. And I'm just being as direct as I possibly can be, but that seems to be the reality of the New York Giants offense.
You're being nice, so don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm right though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're being nice, and we have no problems admitting when we're wrong on the show. I fully admit all the times that I've been wrong. We were wrong about the Chiefs last year. They proved us wrong.
They did.
And if Daniel Jones proves to be a more than competent quarterback, gets to the top 15-ish, he's like, oh, he's looking good. He's actually like performing well. It's not just the system. We'll give him his credit. but we have to see it first.
I'm being as objective as I possibly can be, but I must say I don't have a whole lot of faith in Daniel Jones going into next year.
Absolutely, Jose. But if you're ready about it, I'm ready to talk about a quarterback who I have all the faith in the world. I don't know about you. I think you might agree with me.
I do, and it's a shame that he was put in the position that he was put in last year, completely out of his control, completely out of the Chargers' control. To be frank with you as well, I mean they were just plagued with injuries. Ricardo, what were we saying before the regular season started started last year? There's always that one team that just gets plagued with injuries. Right? And unfortunately, it was the Chargers. It was the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, and going into this next year, Justin Herbert, and for those of you that haven't heard already, Justin Herbert signed a massive contract, $2.5 million worth, $2.5 million more than Lamar Jackson's contract, $262.5 million. That puts him at the position of the second highest paid quarterback, right behind Patrick Mahomes. Or should I say not right behind Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes is getting paid almost half $500 million. It's crazy. That's what his contract is.
Yeah, the total contract. Yeah.
The total contract. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting at. But overall, right, Justin Herbert is now the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now. And honestly, kudos to him, because at this point he's earned that stamp of approval from us. Justin Herbert has been a phenomenal quarterback up until this point. What happened last year is not his fault. It is not his fault entirely. Granted, he did not have the best games throughout the year, but he has still shown himself to still perform when he needs to. All right. It's just that the rest of the team at that point in time was unfortunately plagued with injuries. So that's really the position that we're in right now. Ricardo, you love Justin Herbert. You have all the faith in the world in Justin Herbert. So I want to hear your take on this as well.
Before I talk about my guy, Justin Herbert, I got to bring this up, Jose, because we mentioned this early on. Lamar Jackson's contract was going to have a huge precedent and effect for these future guys, these next two guys' contract. One of them just got extended. There's still another big whale that's yet to be signed, Joey Burrow. His contract's still left to be formatted, and because he made the Super Bowl, you better believe it's going to be higher than Justin Herbert's. Like, look at what he got. Like, like I took this team somewhere they haven't been in almost 30 years. I believe it's almost 30 years. No. Well, 26, 20. It was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It was 30 years. It was over 30 years.
Just to give somebody y'all perspective, the last time the Cincinnati Bengals were in the Super Bowl, Joe Montana was still playing in the league. Joe Montana was still playing in the league back in the 80s with the San Francisco 49ers. The Bengals made the Super Bowl twice in what was it, Ricardo, like 3-4 years? Yeah, and they lost both times. Both times to the Niners and Joe Montana.
It's just now that I'm looking at my math here correctly, so I was right. It was 35. It was 34 years.
Yep.
34 years since they last been to a Super Bowl. But the point, anyways, going away from the Bengals, coming back to Justin Herbert. Point is that Lamar Jackson's contract extension has a huge precedent as far as what the going rate for quarterback is, Jose. And the going rate annually for quarterbacks, the good ones at least, is at least $50 million a year. That's the precedent set right now, and we'll see what the Bengals do with that. However, let me get into the numbers with this massive contract by my guy, Jay Herbert. Give me 1 second here. So, as far as for the years of the contract, Jose, it's a total of 5 years. Okay?
Yep.
It is $262,500,000 contract. Boy, is it good to be Justin Herbert today. That's what I got to say.
Absolutely.
Now, as far as for the guaranteed money, Jose, with no incentives hit, this means if he doesn't do anything and doesn't hit those incentives in the contract, guaranteed money is $133 million. However, if he hits all those incentives that the Chargers have laid out for him, His total guaranteed contract money is $218,738,376. $218 million guaranteed if he hits those incentives. That's a lot of money.
It's insane. That's insane.
That is a lot of money. Now, he has a signing bonus, Jose, of $16 million right now. So right now, he got an extra $16 million in his bank account as we speak right now. So great for him. But anyways, why I believe Justin Herbert deserves this contract, Jose, I mean, it's safe to say it because he hasn't had the most success winning right now, but he will get it done. It's not because of lack of talent. There's questionable decision-making, but it's not because of lack of talent on his part. Jose, I was in New York City when they played when the Chargers played the Chiefs on a Thursday night football. I saw Justin Herbert get hit hard, bruise his ribs, get back up. It's 4th and 5. What does he do? He throws a 40-yard pass for a touchdown to one of their third-string receivers to bring the game in closer. I mean, you can't coach that toughness and that arm strength to be able to do it. The guy had bruised ribs, and the next play he's like, okay, I'm going to chuck it deep on 4th down.
Not to mention the perceptiveness to keep an eye out for not your starter, not your second rounder, or not your secondary, but your guy that's placed third on the depth chart, Ricardo. I mean, it's phenomenal that he's able to pass the ball around too, not just to his guy. Like his guy's going to get it, he's going to force it in there no matter what. No, he's unselfish with the ball, and that's what makes him such a team player as well. Is that he's giving everybody a chance, and he's also keeping an eye out for the people that are open, as opposed to the guy that he really wants to get it to because he knows that he's going to be reliable. He's doing his best to make everybody reliable.
Yes, and it's safe to say, we still got a long way before we go with predictions, but it will be a different Chargers team if they mostly stay healthy compared to last year.
It will be. And Ricardo, correct me if I'm wrong, but one team that's plagued with injuries, the next year they're usually off. They're usually off just fine. Yeah.
It's never worse. So if you have a year that's like plagued with injuries, like everything that could go wrong did, it's never the same or worse. You might get injuries again, but it's never that bad. So,
right.
As far as from what I've
seen. We should expect a team like the Chargers, well, both LA teams, the Chargers and the Rams, this next year to come out a little bit better. Because Matt Stafford is going to be fully recovered, right? The rest of the O-line is going to be recovered as well. So we'll continue to see how they progress. But as far as Justin Herbert goes, Ricardo, I 100% agree that he deserves this contract money. The toughness, the perseverance, what his teammates have to say about him, they rally behind him. And that's really something to look at. That's something that's overlooked a lot of times, is how the teammates are responding to that quarterback. Because they're the leader of that team. They're the leader of that offense.
Absolutely, Jose. And it's just safe to say that Justin Herbert, he figures out a way to play. He figures out a way to play. And just to give some background, Jose, I watched him play live at ASU. When he was still in Oregon, I watched him play live. Did I think he was going to become what he became? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'll tell you that right now.
I will say this too. You said the same thing about Patrick Mahomes, and so did I. I said the same thing about Patrick Mahomes when he was at Texas. So we were just kind of like, yeah, I mean, he's all right. I mean, but did we expect him to be the quarterback that he is in the NFL right now? No. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I didn't think he was going to be much of anything. I mean, he was an Oregon quarterback. How many Oregon quarterbacks did we see get successful playing
right.
in the NFL?
Yeah.
So it all changed, Jose, and God bless him, dude. I feel so bad for him. Tyrod Taylor, he's a good NFL quarterback. He just always happens to get hurt, wrong place, wrong time. Chargers, and then with the Texans again. Guy has the worst bad luck. But he got hurt because of the team doctor with the Chargers. And they put him in as a rookie. They're like, you're going in. Same day. Like that. It was the same day. That thing happened same day. And he's like, you're going in. And he pushed the Chiefs to a last-minute game-winning play by the Chiefs, but he was tied with Patrick Mahomes and Jose. I think it's safe to say, as far as the one of the other than Joe Burrow, the only guy who can go toe-to-toe with Mahomes when it comes to passing the football and playing well would be Justin Herbert, in my opinion.
Right.
Other than Joe Burrow.
And potentially Josh Allen. But it seems like the better passers in the league are Mahomes, Burrow, and Herbert.
Yes.
Those are right now the best passers in the league.
Absolutely. Yeah, I forgot Josh Allen. The reason being is because, he's gotten close, but the Chiefs somehow get their number when it matters. So
yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I think Herbert's getting lost in the shuffle because of the lack postseason success. Now, I will be the first one to call him out, Jose. He has had not much success winning compared to these other young QBs. He has all the talent in the world, but talent means nothing without results. Tom Brady's shown you that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Now, Ricardo, we can also make this argument too, that Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow are surrounded by better teams than Justin Herbert. Overall, surrounded by better teams than Justin Herbert. And it's very minor. It's very minor. But when you have somebody like Travis Kelce, formerly Tyreek Hill, and Joe Burrow's old LSU player, old LSU wide receiver, in Jamar Chase, it's tough.
And the best second string receiver, T. Higgins, still on the team there.
There you go.
Pretty good duo.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. And no bashing on Austin Eckler, right? On Eckler. So anyway, what I'm getting at, Ricardo, is that Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow arguably have better teams surrounding them. And I think that has really contributed to their success as well. Now, but Justin Herbert cannot make that an excuse anymore because the Chargers are throwing all their chips in the pot for Justin Herbert. Will Justin Herbert step up to the challenge? I think so.
They drafted the TCU wide receiver, who's another big body for him to throw to.
That's right.
There's no excuse coming now. No excuse whatsoever. This is your team. We have all the faith in the world in you, and we just want to see it. They blew a 25-point lead in the playoffs. We can't forget that. It happens to all.
Right.
Blowing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Blowing leads happens to every single player in the postseason. Peyton Manning once threw 4 interceptions in a game in the postseason. Tom Brady lost a 21-3 lead to Peyton Manning. It happens to everybody. But if he wants to be on the list of greats, he's got to respond like those guys did.
That's right.
When they faced failure.
Exactly what I was thinking. 100%. So we'll see what Justin Herbert starts to do going into this next season. But Ricardo, if you're ready to move on, we can go on to our last person, Trevon Diggs, cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys. Ricardo,
absolutely. Go right ahead, Jose. I'm going to pull up the numbers here. You go right ahead.
Awesome. All right, Ricardo. This man's contract is on par with. Here, let me pull up the list really quick. He is tied right now as one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the league right now. A $97 million 5-year extension with the Dallas Cowboys. He is tied with New Orleans, the Saints, Marshawn Lattimore. Green Bay's Jair Alexander is above him. Denzel Ward in Cleveland is above him. Then Jalen Ramsey is above him. now that he's with Miami, and Marlon Humphrey for Baltimore. Of course, not in that order because Jair Alexander is at the top. But basically what I'm getting at, Ricardo, is Trevon Diggs is now amongst the highest paid cornerbacks in the NFL right now. He's had stellar performance up until this point. And Ricardo, you can elaborate a little bit more on Trevon Diggs and the state of the Dallas Cowboys defense, because defensive mind, right? What we have seen so far from Trevon Diggs, Ricardo, is that he has performed very well up until this point. He had an interception in each of his 6 games in the 2021 season. This is based off of ESPN, by the way. To become one of the 4 players to have a pick in that many games to start the season. As a rookie in 2020 and again last season, Diggs had 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions. So he brought that up in his first 3 years to 17 interceptions in his first 3 years. On top of that, he became the first Cowboys cornerback to earn All-Pro honor since Deion Sanders in 1999. So, accolades aside, Ricardo, the numbers look pretty good. But I feel like you have something more to say about Trevon Diggs and the state of the Cowboys defense, because let's face it, Ricardo, they're the shining light of the team right now, because that offense, they're in hot water.
Yeah, absolutely. It's safe to say, Jose, that bare minimum Trevon Diggs is a top 10 corner in this league. Bare minimum. At the bare minimum, you can argue about what spot between 1 to 10. Let's be honest, 6 to 10. But you can argue what spot he does. You can argue which spot on there, but no question, top 10. Top 10. And he is the light, the shining light for their secondary. He makes plays. He's able to find the ball. He kind of reminds me, Jose, a lot about Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger.
Oh, yeah.
He's able to find the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Create turnovers, make plays, but however, Trevon's is more mainly based on interceptions, as opposed to Tyrann, who tackles and able to get interceptions as well. My point being is that he is able to make plays when they're necessary. Great. Awesome for the Cowboys. Stellar corner. One guy you can realistically try to leave man-on-man on your best receiver while you give your front 4 time to sack the quarterback. But his one weakness, Jose, and I think you know where I'm going with this, his one weakness as a corner, the main reason, Jose, why he's not a top 5 corner in my opinion, but for sure as opposed to top 10, just for top 10, is because he bites at the first bit every single time. Without fail, he jumps at the bit when there's a chance to get an interception or where he thinks a pass is coming. He jumps and he anticipates. Anticipating's good. It's great as a corner. But when you're one-on-one, all it takes is one pattern route, and then you get burnt deep. We saw it last year against your Patriots. Remember?
Yep.
We saw it last year where he intercepted Mac Jones. And then the very next drive, Mac Jones throws a bomb on him because Trevon Diggs bit early on in a route, and they were able to score a touchdown on that high-scoring game. And that's the one weakness that he gets. Does he deserve this contract, in my opinion? Maybe a little more, but you have to overpay, and so that they don't feel, so players don't get insulted. For the production that he's been giving them, they had to give him that money. A little too much, for my opinion, but maybe he'll get better. Maybe he'll learn not to jump as much, because if he's able to stay still, Jose, to stay with the receiver, but not necessarily bite at every move that they do and just stay with them, it's dangerous, Jose, because he can play. He's a great man-on-man coverage defender, but that's just his one weakness, is biting every single time, first chance, in order to make a play. He's going to have to learn, Jose, that it's okay to not get the interception every time as long as you're in position. If you're out of position, specifically later in the game, and you let a team score a touchdown on you, that's a lot worse than having to tackle a guy for a first down.
And he's put up the stats in pass defense as well. Yeah, so he's not just looking for the interception, he's also defending the passes also. But Ricardo, I understand exactly what you're saying. He needs to be a little more calculating in the way that he plays. All right, he needs to stand a little more still. He needs to be a little more observant and not react as much as he has been, right? And Ricardo, remind me, what year is he? Like, what year is he going into? I mean, he's still pretty young, is he not?
He is very young. I believe it's his third year. Let me just confirm really quickly here.
Okay, yeah. So while you're looking that up, we could say between 3 and 5, right?
For sure.
Yeah, we could say between 3 and 5. So we can attribute that. Just to be fair to Trevon Diggs, we can attribute that to his lack of experience, right, of playing in the league. And up until now, he's been playing that way, and it's worked out for him.
Sorry to cut you off. Year 4.
Year 4? Okay. All right, and this is going into this next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's going into his 4th year. So we can attribute that to him just being young and inexperienced, right? And he's playing the way that he knows how to play or the way that he's been coached, right? Potentially the way that he's been coached. I want to be very careful with what I'm saying here. So he's playing the way that he knows how to play, right? Or potentially the way that he's being coached, right? If he's playing the way that he just knows how to play, he needs to shift himself around a little bit, Ricardo. I understand he needs to be a bit more of a mature football player, right? Up until this point, it has worked out for him, and it's understandable that he would continue to play like this because it's been working. Going into the next few years, though, people are going to have their eyes on him. Offensive coordinators are going to be looking at him going, hey, watch this. You see what happens here when you throw this pass this certain way, when you throw it in that direction, when you fake throw it in that direction? He bites it. He bites the bait. All right, so going into next year, he's going to improve significantly. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ricardo, correct me if I'm not understanding you well. He would benefit much more from playing a more calculated game, right? Instead of a more instinctual one, instead of a more reactive one.
100%, Jose. And that's part of the reason why I'm saying this. The guy has all the talent in the world. Like, he has all the talent in the world. He's got the speed. He's good pressing off the line. He's good staying on the hip of the wide receiver. He's aggressive when the ball gets near him. Like, when the ball's in the air and he has a chance to pass defense, he goes.
And he's young.
Yes.
He has time on his side.
Jose, he has the potential to be really good to great. And that's why I'm being hard on him right now, is because if he's able to get more calculated, get some film read, and not able to show his hand each time, able to relax a bit, the Dallas Cowboys will have their elite corner. That they don't have to worry about that side of the football field if he adjusts his game just a little bit more, because he's getting away with it now, Jose, because he's young and athletic and he's able to make big plays to make up for it. But when you're we talk about this all the time. Technique is everything in the NFL. And when your technique is not as perfect and you start to get older, that's when you're really going to show your weaknesses. But he needs to take care of this now if he wants to be from really good to great.
100%, Ricardo. That seems to be it's kind of funny that we bring this up too. That seems to be the theme of this episode, right? Where we believe that these players have earned this money up until this point. All right? There's no question about that. But they still have more to prove. They still have more to prove in order to truly earn that money, right? So at this point in time, each one of these organizations that these respective players belong to, they're taking a risk. The New York Giants and Dallas Cowboys more so than the Chargers, they're taking more of a risk. But at the very same time, what we need to focus on is their growth going into these next few years. So are they going to continue to improve? Ricardo, we have no idea, right? But we hope that they continue to improve, and we hope to see them be better than what they were the previous years, right? Do I think that Trevon Diggs is going to continue to get better in the subsequent years? In next year and the year after that? Sure. But what he needs to do is he needs to do some honest self-reflection, right? He needs to go, okay, how can I improve my game, and what exactly is it that I'm doing that's affecting me now, that's going to affect me later, right? Because like you said, Ricardo, athleticism only goes so far in the NFL. You can be the most athletic player in college and high school and junior high, and you can get pretty far, right? But going into this next year, going into the NFL, it's a completely different thing. It is a completely different thing. I recall Derrick Henry going on a podcast once. I forget which one, but he was talking about. He was asked how different college football and the NFL are from each other, and without hesitation, he says it's night and day. He said it's night and day. There's nothing. There's almost nothing that is the same from college to the NFL. So it's surprising to hear that from somebody that has performed at a high level every single year of his career, spanning back from his high school years. So that very much speaks to the point of the NFL is technique-based. You need to learn how to play smart, not hard. You still play hard, still work hard, but ultimately, when you need to figure out ways to not only diminish your energy output, but to also play skillfully. You need to play efficiently. That's the word I'm looking for.
Absolutely, Jose. Absolutely. And you're right. This wasn't the planned theme of the podcast, but that's what it ended up being for these three players.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly have nothing more to say. You wrapped it up beautifully, Jose. And it was a little bit of a lighter episode today, but we had to talk about these moves that were being made. And who knows, maybe next week we'll hear some more news as far as contracts being done. But Jose, it's almost football season's almost here. I believe preseason is just around the corner, and the next thing you know, regular season's going again.
Oh man, yeah, we are so excited. We are so excited for the football season to start up again, and getting closer. Ricardo, I don't know about you, but maybe we can do what we did last year, and we put out some predictions for each division leading up to the preseason. All right, and seeing where exactly they'll place going into the 2023 and 2024 season. But I don't want to think too far ahead. I want to focus on what's going on right now. And what's going on right now is a lot of fantastic moves going into next week. Who knows, Ricardo? Let's see if Joey B gets signed that huge contract money. And you know that's going to be big. You know he's going to go home with that bag.
Absolutely. And Jose, just take it away. We're gonna do a lot more better job here as far as uploading weekly episodes again as the season is starting. But without question, when the regular season starts, it's gonna be weekly with predictions and results from the games.
100%. Now, everybody, I know that we missed last week, and also there have been a lot of technical. We're trying something new over here at RJ Talks, especially with recording our faces and talking out of camera instead of just talking into a microphone. Like we want to show our faces and we want to show our expressions as we talk about this because it's very exciting for us too, and we would like for you guys to engage with us too. So we're trying out a new platform, and a lot of this the technical stuff on this platform we're really trying to figure out right now. So that's the reason why things haven't been going the way that they are. But now it seems like we're really starting to figure it out. You're going to start seeing weekly episodes from us as well. So moving forward, this is pretty much how it's going to be all the time. We're going to be recording our faces. We're going to be talking at a camera, and it's going to be awesome. We're very excited to start doing that. And with the football season starting here pretty soon, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. We are super hyped for it. We are super excited for it. With that being said, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching our episodes and engaging with us, visiting with us. If you like what you see and if you like what you hear, subscribe to our YouTube channel, RJ Talks, and follow our Instagram at RJTalks_11 for updates on all of our uploads here and in the future. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, folks.